This is Faith Family Cars Podcast. I'm Jerry.
I'm Zach.
Hit the key.
Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. That was Matthew chapter 6, verse 34.
Hey guys, welcome back to Faith Family Cars Podcast. We're glad that you joined back in. And guys, we are thankful for all the support you guys have been giving us. Our views have been pretty good, and they continue to climb. We continue to get more followers and more subscribers. And
more than I ever thought this soon, honestly. I kind of didn't figure we'd be doing as well as we're doing right now.
Yep, but that said, you guys need to get out and watch the Trevor Evans podcast.
Very good one.
Or listen to it if you don't watch it.
It's very good, very emotional. A lot of there's a lot of good to hear in that podcast.
The car talk is great,
but his testimony,
the spirit of his testimony is awesome.
It was amazing. It's you could feel the Holy Spirit just listen to it, you know. Getting goosebumps listening to his testimony. It was awesome.
And during doing the editing, when I went back and listened to it again, I'm like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah, it was so good. You got to check it out. You've noticed not as many people have watched that one compared to our other ones. As of this recording, it might be up.
It may be up,
but as of this recording, it's the views are kind of down. But you need to listen to it. I don't care about the views personally. It's just this needs to be heard because it is such a good testimony.
It's a powerful testimony.
People need to hear it.
Yeah, and Trevor is a great example to young people.
Very good example.
Yes. Yeah. So you may even want to get your teenage kids to listen to it too.
For sure.
Your sons and daughters.
Yeah, and he at his church he does like the teaching for like the college age group. So like that's kind of his forte is college age. So it's a lot of his testimony is geared like toward college age and young adult. It honestly it spoke to me a lot because that's kind of that's my age group right now.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So there's a whole lot going on right now in our country. Yeah. And
especially with the hurricanes, Milton and Helene. We want to extend all our thoughts and prayers to the people affected by them. I mean, especially in North Carolina and East Tennessee, it's really bad right now.
It's devastating to see what has happened in North Carolina because that's one of our favorite places to go.
Yeah, well, the thing that's crazy, and me and my wife were talking about this, is we were just there. We were
Black Mountain?
We were at Black Mountain the first of the year. We were just there.
Yep.
And, I mean, we've driven through the road to get there multiple times because, we go to South Carolina.
We had vacation planned for Maggie Valley, which unfortunately had to get canceled due to illness,
we were going to be there again on the 5th of July.
So that just kind of shows you how often we kind of go to that area.
It's just crazy.
We're actually supposed to be going to Black Mountain again at Christmas, but that don't look like that's going to happen now. We're going to have to cancel that trip as well.
It's just crazy to see it when you visit that area so much and just seeing what you used to know. Just gone. It's just wiped out. I mean, just the road to Asheville is completely, it's a landslide.
And we travel that road a lot.
A lot, yeah. It's hard to see.
A whole lot over the past year.
It's very hard to watch. All the videos I see on social media, it's so hard to watch. It's just, it just hurts my heart really to watch it. So we just want to extend our thoughts and prayers out to the people affected. We've been... like I said, I've been watching and seeing all the things going on. It's just hard to see it.
It's hard to see it. But we're also thankful to the car community and a lot of the guys who have got out and went there to help.
Cletus McFarland took his helicopter. And he was like delivering insulin, which not many people, I don't think anybody knows in the podcast, but I'm a type 1 diabetic. So that really... was huge to see that he is not only delivering food to people, but medical supplies, including insulin. So, and you got to think, if a diabetic's out of insulin, they really can't eat.
Yeah.
So,
and there were so many. I mean, that's just one big one that everybody knows.
Yeah.
But
there was a lot of people doing it.
Yeah, there were so many of car people who got out there. And look, I know all of us, all you guys watching, your heart was probably broken by what you've seen and you wanted to be there too, but not all of us can do that, and it's just great to see that those guys who were able to got out there and worked at it.
Yeah, my wife wanted to get out there so bad,
Yes.
because we go there so often, and I kept telling her, I was like, "Baby, there's nothing we can do."
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing. We have no resources, but all the people that did have resources were there, which was good to see.
Yes, it was. Now, the rest of us can still give to like Samaritan's Purse or to some of the other organizations that are helping.
Yeah, there's
there.
a lot of places you can donate to help,
Yeah.
and maybe we can find some, and maybe we can post them put them on the screen when we post this
Yeah.
up.
Okay. And
Maybe put them in the bio as well for this video, just because they really need all the help they can get, and our government's helping a little bit, but not as much as I feel like private citizens are. So
Exactly.
I think that we need to give as much as we can, really.
Yeah. So today on the podcast, there's several issues that have popped up in the automotive world in the last few weeks.
Some of them have been going on for a long time, but there's been a lot of articles come out about them recently.
Yes.
So.
And so we kind of want to discuss some of those topics. One of them is kind of dear to our hearts.
Yeah.
And a couple of them were like, really? Mm-hmm. What is going on here? Yep. So first off, I want to kind of get into the bill that was just vetoed in the state of California by Gavin Newsom. Yeah, very surprising.
It was vetoed because you know anything about California,
it's pretty liberal.
Yeah, they like to be against car people a lot. So
yeah, and so if you follow or you get emails from SEMA, because if you're like me, when a lot of this stuff, when SEMA puts out information about a lot of the bills, and they send out a lot of information about that on their website, I've signed up for emails, so I get all that.
Yeah.
So I kind of know what's going on. So a lot of you guys probably got this email from SEMA talking about the bill being vetoed. And this bill included a requirement for vehicles, and I'm reading this straight from the email, a requirement for vehicles to be equipped with a passive speed notification system that audibly and visually alerts drivers when they exceed the speed limit by 10 miles per hour or greater. However, the bill arbitrarily exempted several vehicle types like medium and heavy duty trucks and motorcycles. So, I'm reading this, and we're going to talk about some Ford patents that kind of go along with this too. Yeah. This to me was just kind of the gateway to these Ford patents, okay, that just got over the last couple months.
Yeah.
But I'm reading this and I'm thinking, do I really need some voice yelling at me through my audio system telling me I'm going 80 and a 70?
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. And where we live, our interstate,
you better be going 90 and a 70.
Yeah, you've got to. You're gonna get ran over.
Run over.
Like consistently, I go 80 mile an hour just because that's the speed everyone around me is going. And if I don't, I better be. Well, I would say I better be in the slow lane, but the thing is people in the slow lane go 60. People in the middle lane go 85, and people in the fast lane go 80. So it's really, you can't, there's no winning. So like if I do go to the slow lane and try to go 70, I'm stuck behind someone going 55 or 60, which has happened multiple times.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't win for losing. But with this, I'm glad I don't buy new cars. That's all I'm going to say.
Because you would have some voice. And you know what, guys? I'm talking to guys here. It'd probably be some female that sounds like your wife nagging at you.
I already hear enough of that at home. I don't need more of that, on the road.
So, slow down. You need to slow down.
Yeah, no.
So, come on. We don't need this crap in our cars. And, part of what SEMA was saying about it is if this is going to be made a law, it would need to be a national law.
Yeah.
Not just one state saying this has to be done.
Yeah.
But you guys know, usually when California does it, it ends up spreading across the United States anyway.
Well, my question too is it able to be turned off? Because let's say I buy a brand new Mustang and it has this technology in it, and I want to go to the drag strip one weekend and I hit 100 mile an hour. What's it going to say?
Yeah. Is it
going to start yelling at me?
Time?
Because the road to the drag strip was a 35 and I'm going 100 in a 35.
It's gonna start out calm.
Yeah.
Telling you that you're exceeding the speed limit by 10 mile an hour, and then it's gonna start screaming at you.
It's like the seatbelt. It's like the seatbelt light where it just starts dinging a little bit at you, and then it shuts your radio off. It shuts everything off. You can't use nothing. Wear your seatbelts, guys. I'm only talking about when I'm driving the truck around, a property or something. I have to keep my seatbelt off, and it'll ding at you for a while. But
so this is totally ridiculous. But it goes along with, and you know what? There might be more about this bill that I'm just not even seeing, because I'm not telling y'all I'm a very smart guy, okay? But I read just what SEMA set out, and that's what this was about.
Yeah.
And this was totally ridiculous. We don't need more crap on our cars. And yes, okay, it's awesome how safe our cars are, okay? Because these cars are safer now than they've ever been.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we need something telling us to slow down.
No, and cars are just consistently getting, like you said, with more and more technology telling us all different stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is I didn't even talk to you about this before. I don't know if you've seen this yet, but they're adding stuff on newer Mercedes and BMWs and stuff where you have to pay a subscription to have heated seats.
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yes, that's been around insane. For a while now.
That's insane. I don't understand what the deal with all that is. I mean,
well, I might be wrong about this, and you comment and tell me if I am wrong about this, but I think Tesla's been doing that since
I don't know. I don't care about electric cars, so I don't really read up on any of that stuff. But that just makes me so happy that all I buy is old cars, because I don't want to deal with that nonsense.
Garbage. Well, that brings us to the Ford patents, though.
Yeah, so Ford, I recently saw, has got an article pulled up here, has released a patent to where they want to be able to listen in on your conversations and play an ad on your big touchscreen you got on your brand new F-150 so that they can designate ads to you. So we've already got Facebook and all that nonsense listening to us. Yeah. When I was actually just talking just the other day to my wife and her friend at work, and while I was talking, I got on Facebook Marketplace and was scrolling through, and exactly what I was talking about popped up on Facebook Marketplace six times in a row. I'm trying to look at race car parts, and I'm seeing all this nonsense that I was just now talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's besides the point. But with this patent, this is a Motor Trend article. It says, one such information stream that this hypothetical system would use to determine what sort of ads to serve could be to the voice commands that you give to the car. It could also identify your voice and recognize you and your ad preferences and those of your passengers. And it could listen to your conversations to determine if it's better to serve you a visual ad while you're talking or an audio ad when there is a lull in the conversation.
That is so messed up.
So if I'm talking about Raising Cane's, is it going to show me a Raising Cane's ad?
Yeah, of course.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's going to be quiet and calm, and all of a sudden, a Raising Cane's ad.
Go get the Caniac combo.
Yeah, I mean, why do we need this? Why do we need this in our vehicles?
We don't. It is invasion of privacy. Number one. We already know our phones listen to us. And sorry, I'm not no conspiracy theorist or nothing, but everybody knows that.
Everybody knows your phone.
Yeah, your phone's it's got to do something because I get ads of what I'm talking about all the time.
Yes.
Anyway, that's besides the point. But we've already got all this other stuff and and the government already infringes on a bunch of our other rights.
Yeah.
So why would I want them to be able to hear what I'm talking about in my car?
Yeah, that's nuts. Well, one thing that sorry about the throat clearing, guys. We've got weather change here.
We've been a little sick the past couple weeks.
Yeah. So, but sorry about that. I was looking at a Lincoln. I wanted to say it was a Nautilus, brand new Lincoln Nautilus.
Those are nice.
Little sport utility, okay? Nice. And the interior in these cars is just amazing.
Oh, they're beautiful.
But they have the screen, kind of like the Wagoneer has got, that goes all the way around the dash.
Is it in place of the speedometer and stuff too?
Yeah, the speedometer, everything's there, okay? And then it also has a heads-up display, on the windshield.
I like those.
I do too.
Those are nice.
And which that's been around since the 90s.
It's been around forever, yeah.
But when I'm looking at this car, I'm like, the interior just looks unbelievable. And I even showed it to my wife, and she's like, man, I really like that. Mm-hmm. But I'm looking at these screens, and I'm like, do we really need a screen that wraps all the way around? How much distractions?
I mean, do I need to be able to play Angry Birds while I'm driving?
Yeah, they already tell us that we're too distracted with these.
Yeah.
So let's. Yeah. You think putting a screen all the way across the dashboard is going to help with that? I mean, then do you think running an ad? I mean, what are we going to have? Like a banner that runs across there with some message telling us that
ridiculous. I know
that we're 5 miles away from the next gas station.
What they'll do is they'll put this into cars, and they'll realize it's causing wrecks, and they'll pull it right back out. That's what's going to happen.
It's totally ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
And
like I said, it's infringing on privacy, and I mean, the government already, like I said, infringes on a bunch of our other rights. So why should I should be able to say what I want to in my vehicle without it listening to me. Because it's going to start with ads, but what's it going to lead to?
Yeah, exactly.
It might lead to anything else, just like the whole speed thing. Being able to, it's going to start by telling you, but is it going to also alert the police that you're going over?
Which comes to the next patent.
Yeah. The patent that alerts the speed of, I don't know if I've got an article about this. I think I do have an article pulled up.
I think it alerts the speed of drivers around you using cameras.
Yeah, so this is also a Ford patent. This came out in August, so this is old. But a Ford patent allowing cars to surveil and report speeding drivers. And it said that Ford Motor Company is seeking a patent for technology that would allow vehicles to track the speed of surrounding cars, photograph them, and relay detailed information to the police, making it easier for law enforcement to surveil action on the road.
Okay.
That just seems illegal. How's that?
Well, yeah, it seems illegal. And then, not only that, when is that technology going to report you to the police?
Exactly. Well, see, it starts with this. And then next thing you know, you're going 80, just cruising along on the interstate, and you've got police lights behind you.
Exactly.
And that police officer was alerted because of your Ford told them, Ford, y'all made good cars in the 80s and 90s. Please go back to making good cars and not all this nonsense.
And leave this crap alone.
I mean, come on.
Look, I know Ford is on the leading edge of a lot of stuff right now, okay? And they've got a lot of good vehicles that came out. The Bronco, the F-150s.
I mean, they're releasing new trim packages for the Bronco that look amazing.
The Freestyle.
The brand new, the CEO of the company just released a statement talking about how he's decided to stop with all this innovation and decides that he's going to go back to making good, fun, enthusiast cars.
Yeah, so...
That's paraphrasing, of course, but that's
We definitely don't need to be tattling on the people driving around us.
Exactly, because if I buy my brand new enthusiast Mustang that they're promoting, how they're going to be putting out more enthusiast vehicles like they used to, and I'm driving my brand new Mustang, I don't need the police to know that I'm going, 150, testing out the top speed. Not going 150 in America, it's only in Mexico. But
well, to me, this bill that would tell you, your car telling you you're going over 10 mile an hour over, that was just kind of the gateway leading to this technology too. Yeah.
And like you said, is it just going to scream as I go faster? Is it going to get louder? You're hitting 90. Slow down, 100.
Put a loud enough exhaust on the Mustang that you don't have to hear it.
Yeah. Or just continue buying old cars so you don't have to deal with all that nonsense.
Exactly.
That's what I'm sticking with.
Hey, as much as cars are right now,
you can't buy a new car.
Hey, you might as well stay in an old car and have no payment, guys. Stay in an old car and no payment.
I'll tell you right now, the only thing that's fairly affordable is these some of these single cab short bed F-150s that you can get. You can get those for about $40,000, but still, it's expensive.
Hey, times have changed a lot, okay? Mm-hmm. But when I was 13, 14, 15 years old, you could buy an S10 for $14,000. You could go buy a Dodge Dakota Sport.
I don't think you could buy
with a V6, regular cab, short bed, and it was a good-looking truck for $14,000.
I don't even think you can buy a Versa for $14,000 anymore.
No, you can't.
I think the cheapest car right now is like $16,000, and I actually think it's a Mitsubishi. I can't remember.
They don't even make the Versa anymore. So
they don't.
No.
Oh, do they stop making all their cars?
Yeah, Nissan stopped making all the cars except for Sentras. The Ultima's still alive for a short time.
That's probably because that's what everybody buys.
Yeah. So we don't need more technology. And I wish our podcast was big enough that, Farley would be listening to us, the CEO of Ford. Mm-hmm. But, it's not, of course. But we don't need more technology. We've got enough technology. And how many of you dudes are like me and you just want to go buy a work truck? You don't even care if it has freaking crank windows, But the cabs are so big, you really do need power windows because you can't reach the other side.
Yeah. I will say, though, with him making that statement about making, more iconic cars, that was actually his words, iconic cars. So what does this mean? Does this mean, are we going back to, like, SVOs and SVT style stuff? Are we going to get, obviously they don't make a Contour anymore, but are we going to get something like a Contour SVT or maybe a Taurus Show? What about those?
Well, I listened to him do an interview a while back, and I can't remember what podcast it was on. But in that interview, he said that he would love to bring cars back to the United States lineup.
And not just right CUVs and stuff.
Besides the Mustang, it's all SUVs.
Well, I know that still overseas, they still have the Focus and Fiesta STs.
Yes, but they're profitable over there. Because people over there buy small cars. Yeah. In the United States, everybody wants to buy freaking huge trucks.
Yeah, and massive SUVs like the Wagoneer.
So, yes, he also said in this interview that he feels like the size of the trucks needs to come back down.
Yeah.
And the size of cars need to come back down. And I think he's right. I really do. No, do we want to ride around in, a
Nissan
Ford
Versa?
Fiestas or a Nissan? No, we don't want to ride around in that. But is a 90s model Taurus too small? No.
No.
Is an early 2000s model Taurus too small? No. Is a Ford Fusion too small? No.
I think
so. Those size cars, I think, is really what he's gearing at. But in order to compete with the Japanese and the Koreans with the cars that they're bringing over here right now, Ford and General Motors both have to step their game up hugely.
Well, I think that if they start bringing cars back, they need to actually do the sport model of these cars because they will sell. Because, look at Hyundai. Hyundai's got their inline. The N, like the Veloster N and the Elantra N, those are actually pretty quick cars, especially the Elantra.
Because they're little turbos.
Yes, and people buy them.
Yeah.
And they sell well. They have good colors on the cars.
Yeah. Kind of like what you were saying about the SVOs.
Yes, and the SHO and SVTs.
The T-Birds with the turbos in them.
Yeah, and even the supercharged V6.
Yeah.
It's an enthusiast vehicle. People will still buy it. If you've got a family and you want a quick car, Ford needs to have something that you can still buy because they got rid of the Focus ST.
Chevrolet does too. Chevrolet has nothing.
Well, Chevrolet's been out of the game forever. Well, that's part of the problem. And
they went a total different route.
Not even hating on Chevrolet fans, but they don't even have the Camaro in the lineup anymore.
No, that's gone now too.
It is. They have nothing. So all they do is sell.
But they bowed down to this EV deal and decided that's the direction they were going.
Yes.
And now I think they're pulling back on it.
Everybody seems to be pulling back.
Yeah.
Because they realize it's not attainable. Number one, and number two, no one's going to buy those cars.
EV sales are down big time right now.
Yeah.
In this fourth quarter. I know the third quarter EV sales are really down, but I have a feeling the fourth quarter is going to be even worse for EV sales.
Yeah.
And it's going to be worse for car sales in period because people right now are just holding back. People aren't wanting to spend $70,000-$80,000 for an F-150 Lariat, or even a fully loaded XLT is running you $65,000.
Prices for vehicles just have to come down.
Yes.
And even with the used market's ridiculous right now too. So
I just recently looked at a F-150 crew cab, four-wheel drive STX with a 2.7 EcoBoost. Okay, so that's just a basic truck.
Yeah, that's bottom of the line.
Okay, but bottom of the line has a 12-inch touchscreen.
Yeah.
Has power windows, power locks, power mirrors, all your power options, cruise control. It has your climate control system where you can split the sides.
See, I remember when bottom of the line was a manual transmission V6 truck.
You're talking a 10-speed automatic.
Yeah. See, that's like one of the best transmissions you can get built by Ford.
And it is a sharp-looking truck. Everything's all blacked out, black wheels. It's a good-looking truck. And you're looking at $55,000.
So the only bottom of the line thing really is the screen size, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, your engine size.
Yes, that's it, the engine size. Because even the work truck with the steel wheels was still nearly $50,000.
Yeah.
For a crew cab, four-wheel drive, which is what most people need for a work truck. That's what I need for a work truck.
I think the cheapest ones you can get are the single cab short beds. I've seen those go for about $40,000.
Yeah.
With the single cab short bed and even with the Coyotes in them, you can still get them for about $40,000.
But inflation is really hurt the automotive market.
It's killed it. Used and new.
Yes.
I remember a couple years ago. Well, I bought a Mustang maybe a year before COVID, maybe for like $2,300 running and driving, perfectly fine. Yeah. And now I bought one with rusted out shock towers for $2,300, $2,200.
Same kind of price.
Yeah. And this
trucks are just totally ridiculous. You get into C10s, you get into F-150s. A rusted out junk F-150. It runs and drives, but rusted out junk. And you're paying $3,000 for it for an OBS.
Well, I bought when I had my bullnose, I bought it a couple years ago for how much did I even pay for that? $1,200.
Like $1,200.
Yeah. Can you even find one for that much?
No, you can't. You can't.
It's
not looks as good as that one did.
Oh yeah, and mine was straight.
That one looked good.
Mine was a straight truck, straight frame, straight body.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, but you guys know all about that. We're kind of getting on
we're just ranting. We're ranting. But speaking of ranting, you know, we got the whole NMRA and NMCA kind of dropping out all of a sudden.
Yeah. So
that's depressing.
If you guys don't know, the NMRA is the National
Mustang
Racing Association, and then you had the National Muscle Car Association.
Yep.
They were teamed up under the name Pro Media. And that has been huge for Holley Ford Fest. Okay, so
it's been big for Ford fans because with the NMRA, I mean, I follow guys on Instagram that have vehicles built specifically for NMRA racing. I mean, there's a whole category of racing they have in NMRA called Coyote Stock, and you have guys that build vehicles for Coyote Stock specifically, and their car's not competitive elsewhere unless it's like bracket racing. But
so I want to read their announcement. This is from the NMRA, NMCA. It was sent to me about a week ago now?
I think earlier this week, actually. Well,
no, I think it was last week.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Pro Media, home of the NMRA Ford Nationals since 1999. So this has been around for 25 years. And the NMCA, National Muscle Cars Nationals, since 1988.
So since the 80s. It's crazy.
Has made a very difficult decision to cease production of motorsports events beyond 2024. Despite our best efforts, the company could not overcome significant challenges that include losing 4 of our 5 largest pre-COVID revenue-producing events, losing Auto Club Speedway for our NMCA West Series, declining sponsorships and advertising revenues, substantial inflationary price increases, and most recently, the devastating effect Hurricane Helene had on the NMRA World Finals, our company's largest net profit event. And if you know, guys, if you all know about Holley Ford Fest, you know it all started with the NMRA Nationals.
That's what it's based around.
Yes.
I mean, you go there,
and that's what's going on.
Yeah, you go there because it's a drag racing event. All this other stuff's just like side stuff.
Yeah.
But
Holley came in as the sponsor and added everything else. When we went there in 2017, it was a car show and NMRA
and swap meet
national, and NMRA national championships, and that was it.
So my thing is, my theory at least, is they must have just been completely out of money because, because obviously the killing factor was NMRA not happening.
Yes. And
the
because
Nationals.
it's such a small crowd turnout, and they
couldn't
didn't get to have the race. Yeah.
So they didn't really make any money because, how many people you think even showed up? Maybe 300 or 400 people the whole day?
Well, I know Sunday afternoon some cars ran, but I don't know if that was any competition. I don't think it was.
I don't know.
I think it was
I just figured they'd push it off.
Yeah.
I figured they'd push it off and push through the week because a lot of racing, that's what they do. They just push
we've been there because the actual the championship races are on Sunday. And we've been there in the past where it rained on Sunday. Yeah, they do qualifiers, but the actual finals are on Sunday.
Yeah.
And we've been there when it rained on Sunday and they had to move the finals to Monday.
Yeah.
That's happened in the past. And we just kind of thought that's what would happen.
Yeah, maybe a Monday, Tuesday, let them get one qualifier. That's what they just did at FL2K before Milton came through. At FL2K, they... a couple guys got 2 qualifiers, but most guys only got 1 qualifier for their class, and that's just what they had to go on. So give them 1 day for qualifiers, and give them another day for racing, and it's a Monday, Tuesday event.
It's got to be way more. It sounds like to me that this started during COVID.
Yeah.
And even though the NMRA championship still happened in 2020,
well, but they've always been packed too. That's the thing. Even with
that year was a down year. If you remember, that year was a down year.
It was 1 year, though.
But we actually loved it because it was down.
Well, it was 1 year, though, because if I'm not mistaken, the year after was when Solomon came.
Yeah, it took right off.
Solomon came from Ford Era and brought all his buddies. You had the Craig 909 there.
Yeah.
You had, there's a bunch of other guys I can't even think of right now, but you had tons of Ford trucks. There was a whole Ford truck section at Ford Fest. That year was massive. There's no way that they didn't make a ton of money from that.
But... yeah, you're right.
That had to be huge with money.
But I guess, with declining sponsorships, because I've heard that. I've heard some of these events are having problems getting sponsors.
They had a new sponsor just this year. There was a brand new sponsor. It was some detailing spray company or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
To me, and everybody's going to have their theories. But to me, because I say everybody has their theories, that's because I've read a lot of people's theories too online. But to me, there had to be some mismanaging of money
That's what I was about to
over the
say.
last several years.
Yeah.
And then with the declining sponsorships, with losing one of your venues that was for NMCA,
Yeah.
and with losing some of the other venues that they lost, because we all know there's been a lot of drag strips
I was
shut
about to
down.
say that's another thing, because for some reason housing developments like to be put right next to drag strips,
Yeah.
and then they, they're like, oh, the drag strip will be fine, but then a month later they complain about noise. Well, you knew what you were getting into building next to.
Exactly.
I mean, there was issues with, if I'm not mistaken, the Freedom Factory just a couple years ago, where
Well, and they're still building a subdivision right next to it.
where Garrett had to, Cletus McFarland had to, kind of fight against it, and he had
Yep.
like a whole petition kind of thing going on, because for some reason they like to build houses right next to racetracks and then expect there not to be any noise, and then get upset when there is noise.
Exactly. No,
I mean-
there's got to be a place for guys to race.
There has to be.
And
I mean, it's a hobby that extends past America.
yes,
I mean, honestly, it's almost bigger in other countries than it is in America. I mean, if you look in Australia, car culture is huge in Australia, Thailand, anywhere in Asia, car
Yeah.
culture is massive. I mean, you got to have places for. I mean, you don't want people on the streets racing, but you're going to take away their race tracks, which leads us into, I guess, our next topic, which is
takeovers.
takeovers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm completely against takeovers. I'm going to say that right now. 100%. We
Yes,
both are.
we both are. Yeah.
100% against takeovers. Shutting down a road to spin in circles like an idiot in your stupid little Dodge Challenger that you still owe money on, that the bank owns, actually, that you still have 40 grand in debt because you bought a Hellcat Red Eye with your 300 credit score. Sorry, I'm calling out some people, but you're an idiot. I don't really care.
Well, 300 credit score might be exaggerating a little bit. I don't think a bank will loan on that.
No, but that's the whole meme around it.
Yeah, okay.
300 credit score, Hellcat Red Eye that they owe 50 grand. They owe 50 grand on. But anyway, you're not cool. You're not funny. You're not a talented driver because you can spin in circles. I can do a donut just as good as anybody.
And that F-150 out
in
there.
that F-150. Yeah, you don't. Yeah. Stop.
Yes.
Shutting down roads, ambulances need to get through, emergency services, stop doing it. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, also, another thing I'm tired of, which me and him will kind of get in, well, we kind of disagree here, is I'm tired of news lumping in street racing
And
with
they do.
takeovers.
And they shouldn't be doing it.
They shouldn't do it because street racing is not takeovers.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm going to get some hate from this from our viewership, but I think that there is a safe way to do street racing. There is a correct way to do street racing. In Mexico, of course, that is there's a right way to do it. Shutting down a subdivision or racing on the interstate, with a bunch of cars around you is not the way to do it.
Yes, exactly.
There are country roads in Mexico that are safe to race on, and I've seen plenty of videos. I've seen it happen. There are safe places to race.
But that's where I kind of disagree with you, because I think the drag racing should be taking place on the strip. And I understand the adrenaline rush and the fun
It's
factor
thrilling. It's very thrilling.
of doing it on the street. But I also understand that there's no safety precautions taken for the most part. There is drivers that are out there that have zero experience of driving a car with those kinds of with that kind of power, because they've built these cars and they think they're going to go out and street race this thing, or they buy this car. Most of them don't build them. Most of them buy them.
Yeah.
Bunch of kids, they buy these cars. They think they're going to go out and street race it and make a name for themselves, but they can't handle the power. Why do you see so many freaking Mustangs hitting curbs and running over people?
I've actually seen a lot of middle-aged men doing it, if I'm being honest.
Maybe, but they don't know what they're doing either. Just like it would be the exact same thing, because I have no experience at racing. It'd be the exact same thing if I went out in a brand new Mustang GT and started street racing it with zero experience.
Well, but here's the difference. So, real street racing is, there's a bunch of safety taking place. So, a lot of the guys that I've seen race, like a lot of guys you'll see on the internet, they have full cages. They have all the safety precautions taken. I mean, even if like y'all watch Street Outlaws, anybody that's watched Street Outlaws, they have full caged cars. That is real street racing. You have the safety precautions for how fast your car is. Now, if I'm going out there in a 400 horsepower car, I don't need a full cage because I'm not running no 10-second quarter mile or no 5 or 4 second eighth. I'm not running that.
How many guys are actually out there doing that? What about the guy?
A lot, actually. Believe it or not, there's a lot more out there doing that. So when I say street racing, I'm not talking about old Johnny in his brand new Mustang and whatever.
But I'm talking about old Johnny in his twin turbo or his single turbo LSC10 that has street tires on it.
Yes, but these guys are experienced at what they do.
That dude doesn't know what he's doing.
These guys are experienced at what they do. I've seen a lot of it, and you've got to start.
And maybe he does know what he's doing. Maybe I'm totally talking out of, totally wrong about this. I just know that there is when it comes to racing, I think there needs to be safety involved. And I know that there's a lot of these guys that think they know what they're doing.
There is.
That have no clue. It's just like sending a kid who's never been in a fist fight before into a fight with someone who knows jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I mean,
I understand where you're coming from, but, real street racing isn't all this, roll racing nonsense on the interstate. And I'm going to be honest, guys.
Yeah, that is nonsense.
I'm going to be honest, okay? There's a lot of people that are super into roll racing that build cars specifically for roll racing. But I'm going to tell you right now, this might catch us a little bit of flack from some of the racing community. Roll racing is not real racing. Don't care who you are. I don't care how fast your car is. If you cannot launch your car from a dig, I don't think that's real racing, because I think racing involves you having experience and you being able to drive your car. Drag racing from a dig, being able to control your car when it's spinning, being able to, if you're a stick shift driver, being able to control your shift and know when to shift, or, if you're spinning so much you need to short shift so you can, slow the tires down. You need that's real racing. Me stomping on the gas at 60 mile an hour on the interstate is not real racing.
I will agree with you on that.
Sorry. But anyway, they're taking away our tracks. So the street is where a lot of people go. Now, a lot of the people that race on the tracks race no prep. If you can race no prep on a track, you can race on the street.
Yeah.
Very easily. And a lot of those guys have caged cars. So whenever street racing and takeovers get combined together, it just annoys me.
And I don't like that either.
It annoys me because I'm like, I've even watched low horsepower real street racing, once again in Mexico, that is, it was done safely. And yeah, you may have had a couple guys that aren't super experienced out there, but those super inexperienced guys aren't driving 1,500 horsepower cars. They're driving 400 horsepower Mustangs, 600 horsepower Corvettes. That's what they're driving. They're not driving something that, and also you're not going a distance to where if you wreck your car, it's going to flip 15 times and you're going to die.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And most of the time, if you do wreck your car, you hit a telephone pole and your airbags come out. But I've never actually even watched a wreck happen. Yeah. The dumbest thing I ever watched happen was a guy tried to street race somebody and accidentally had his car in reverse. It took off in reverse. That's the only thing I've watched. But anyway, real street racing, these guys are very safe. They have harnesses. Most of them have cages because they got super high horsepower. But, they prep their suspension to handle the road, and in the small case of a wreck, everyone bands together, helps the person, make sure everyone's okay. I don't know if I've ever even watched a single street race to where someone's even got injured because their protective gear did what their protective gear is supposed to do. Well, so, I get what you're saying, and I haven't been out there in Mexico to see this stuff. Yeah. Okay. You need to take a trip out sometime. It's pretty nice, I'm just not big. Well, I love Mexican food, but Mexican food's good. So there's not too much Mexican food at where I go, though. Okay. Well, I haven't been out there to see this. I just, as a dad, dads, you probably think about your kid and you're worried to death about them. Being out there, seeing and being part of this kind of stuff, and that's where I come from, because I don't want to be picking my kid up off the side of the road. All right. Well, I don't want to be going to the morgue and having to identify. You don't have to worry about your kid because your kid's never had a car fast enough to do anything. Fastest car we've ever had was a 305 horsepower Cobra. So. That's because we're poor. Yeah. We don't have the 1,500 horsepower. Hey, but who knows? Hey, it's coming one day. This white Mustang here might be. If we can ever get it to not be broken, it might be pretty quick. Yeah. So, hey, you see we're out in the shop tonight. Yeah, we came back out. Yeah. So, and the Mustang's sadly still here. Yeah. We've had more problems, and I don't know that we want to get into all the problems right now. Just know that it is way more issues than I suspected. Yeah. So, we tried starting it and it broke. And then I was like, okay, well, that's weird. And then we found out that the cam wasn't spinning.
Yeah.
And we're just going to leave it at that because it is broken pretty bad right now. So
that is hot rodding.
Yep.
You win some, you lose some,
seems like
and
we're losing
you learn
a lot.
lots of lessons.
Seems like we're losing a lot right now, and it seems like we have to do a whole top end build.
In the long run, though, you're still honestly not out a lot of money.
No, I'm not out
a lot
of
of this
money.
has been budget building.
Yes.
And a lot of this has been parts that we already had.
Yes, and kind of what's cool too, the silver lining is with it being broken, I'm going to go in and build it even better than what I was going to do.
Yeah.
So, I was going to keep it mainly completely stock with just an aftermarket cam. But now I'm looking at, just building a whole top end.
Yeah.
And
we'll get into more about that once he's really decided for sure what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We'll do a little more talk
update
about that. Yeah, we'll do a shop update and talk about that car a little bit more. I do want to swing this right back around to NMRA though, because there's one thing that I wanted to say. The state of Holley Ford Fest is still up in the air.
Yeah.
That's the part when I was saying earlier, one of these topics was heartbreaking for us, because since Holley came into the picture in 2019 and it became the NMRA Holley Ford Fest, it changed the whole dynamic of it, and it became a lot like LS Fest, drifting, and Bigfoot's there every year, and off-road racing, and the off-road racing really took off with Ford Fest.
Oh yeah, because
you got the Broncos.
You got guys like Lauren Healy out there.
Yeah, the RTR guys.
Jr.
They brought their Broncos, and that's what started that whole off-road deal.
Yeah, and so, but the thing that's kind of devastating to us, that kind of we don't really know what's going to happen. Well, first of all, this is our main event. This is what we build our vehicles for every year.
Because we live close to Bowling Green.
Yes, every year this is our thing. We have to, my goal for the car was to have it done at least before Ford Fest to get it there, which obviously didn't happen. But, in that email that they sent out, the whole letter talking about how their, NMRA's done, they mentioned going and visiting other shows.
Yes.
They mentioned LS Fest and Mo Party. They did not mention Ford Fest.
They did not mention
They
Ford
mentioned
Fest.
a ton of shows. It wasn't just like they just mentioned a couple and that was it. They mentioned probably 20 shows, and LS and Mo Party were involved and Ford Fest was not. And if you're canceling NMRA, you think you would add Ford Fest if it's going to continue.
Yeah.
So we don't really know what's going on. And
So,
it's kind of heartbreaking because, like I said,
it's a family tradition.
Yes, it's a tradition. We've gone there every year since Holley took over. And we've actually been there every year since 2017, except we missed 2018.
We missed 2018.
That's it. But that's because it was just drag racing
but
at that point.
Holley took over in 2019. We haven't missed a year, even when we didn't have a car to bring.
Yes.
So
yes, we've all
actually the 1 year we didn't have a car to bring, I went and bought one, and we
built it in a week.
We built it in a week and took it.
Yeah, and see, and that's the thing. Like, we have all these memories of the past. I mean, me and Dad riding out together. And I had the Cobra and he had the truck. Just fun times, you know. And then building cars like the Falcon, specifically for Ford Fest. And my brother working on his truck. Finally being old enough to drive and have a vehicle of his own he can take to Ford Fest, and it might be not happening.
And all he's talked about is, can I take my truck next year?
Yes, yeah.
Because he's going to have a nice looking truck.
Yeah, and I mean, next year is a possibility where we could have 5 vehicles there, 4 or 5 vehicles.
Yeah.
My white car, we've got the blue F100. We've got my brother's truck, which is a 4-wheel drive F-150. We've got the Cobra. What was that, 4 cars?
4, yeah. So
4 cars, and we could all bring them next year because they would probably all be done.
Yeah.
As long as my motor doesn't blow up in the car.
But I think my personal opinion is Holley LS Fest is a Holley sponsored event.
Yeah.
Mo Party is a Holley sponsored event. I don't know if I'm guessing Holley is the main sponsor. So why couldn't Holley Ford Fest still continue on under the name Holley Ford Fest? NMRA is just no longer part of that. So the drag racing part will be just like LS Fest. It'll just be test and tune.
Yes, but I feel like you lose a lot of people.
You probably will lose a lot of people. But it will still, I don't care how many people you lose, it will still be bigger than Mo Party.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just because
it will be second rate to LS Fest like it always has been and always will be. Yeah. But it will be bigger than Mo Party regardless.
Yeah.
Kentucky has a huge Ford fan base.
Yeah.
So
it does.
It's a big Mustang state. So I think you still are bigger than Mo Party, and I think that Holley can still put this show on.
Yeah. Well, we know so far this has been pretty tangential. We've just been going off on different tangents.
Hey, but
stuff,
I think it's good to do this every now and then. So
yeah, it is. I mean, just kind of talking about things that are going on, and you know, even the takeover thing. There's still being people or news outlets posting about takeovers and stuff all the time. Still, I mean, they're still happening. I know there was one.
Well, they've really gotten big in the city of Louisville recently.
Yes, they have been.
This summer,
I've been seeing articles about you know, Louisville, and about how they've been arresting people and just impounding cars out of people's driveways because they're involved in all this nonsense. And you know, once again, we're against all that. But
yes, totally.
It's just, you know,
it's making it hard on cruise ins too. Some of the cruise ins close by us that were in parking lots of like of a strip mall parking lot.
Yeah, they're stopping.
They have been there for years. They've been having these for years.
At least since the 80s and 90s.
Yes,
at least.
and there's not even been any incidents.
No,
they're shutting them down. Telling them that the owners of the property are saying their insurance will no longer cover it. And
because
it's
you
like,
see all this stuff on the news of people acting like idiots, thugs acting like idiots.
Yeah.
You know, and
so that stupid crap is hurting even our local cruise ins.
It really is. And, you know, the car community, like, you know, we talked about the patents and the California bill and NMRA, you know, it's the car community is just kind of going through a lot right now, really.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You know, and it just sucks to see, but I'm sure we'll bounce back.
If it's not the EPA, it's idiots out there ruining it for everybody.
Exactly. You know, you got real car enthusiasts have to worry about the EPA and all the stupid fake car enthusiasts that, you know, buy a G35 and think that they're the greatest thing ever. Yeah. You know, and I'm not hating on G35s. I'm just hating on a lot of the owners. That's all I'm doing.
So, you know, in our country right now, there's a whole lot of stuff going on.
More than just the car community. There's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff going on. We've had, of course, we talked about earlier, the hurricanes back to back.
Devastating.
And we've got a presidential election coming up. And we've got both sides telling lies about each other.
Fighting all the time.
Spreading misinformation.
Yeah.
And
tired of hearing that word.
I know. And both sides are trying to get you to believe that the other side is going to basically destroy America.
And that we are going to go in a complete, you know, hellhole of a country.
Yes, and I'm not saying that won't happen, because I don't know that won't happen.
But in 4 years, is it really going to happen?
No, and that rhetoric is making a lot of people anxious, causing anxiety, just like scripture you read. You want to pull that scripture back out?
Yeah, let me get that back out here.
And I'm looking at all that's going on. And then on top of that, around our world, you have Israel still at war. And it's not getting any better. You've got us still supporting Ukraine. And that war has been going on for how long?
Like almost 2 years, I think.
And there's so much unrest. And now you have Iran getting involved in the Israeli war. And it's just so much unrest.
There's just so much going on in the world right now.
And in our country.
Not just America. It's all over, really. It's sad to see. You know, it doesn't matter which side you support. You know, it's just sad to see.
It's sad to see it happen.
People killing each other and people like disowning friends and stopping talking to people because they don't believe in the same.
Their political views might not be the same.
And in my mind, you know, maybe I'm just different than some people. I don't know, but I really don't think your political views should matter that much. I think you should be able to be friends with somebody.
You can agree to disagree.
Exactly. Yeah. I've been friends with tons of people. Actually, my best friend in high school, we had exact opposite political views, but we were best friends.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't have to. I don't know. It's ridiculous, and it just seems like both sides are pushing so much hate all the time, and it doesn't matter which side you support. There's just so much hate going around.
There is.
It's just, you know.
Go ahead and read our scripture again.
Yeah. Matthew 6:34. Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble.
So, guys, I don't know about you all, but I'm sure that your children, if they pay attention to anything that's going on, because they're seeing all these freaking TikToks.
They're seeing all these celebrities and people getting paid by sides to promote them. So they're seeing their favorite TikToker.
Yeah, they're being
seeing
paid.
Their favorite celebrity saying, vote for this person, vote for that person.
And your wife may be concerned about all the unrest in the country, and the disasters, natural disasters that have been happening, and depending on where you're located, wildfires, that's been going on.
Those have been, wildfires themselves have been huge for the past 4 years. I mean, it's been happening it has been, but I just feel like it's been a lot in the news a lot for the past 4 years.
So I just want to say, guys, if you listen to any of the scriptures that we put out, 3 times a week, you'll notice
Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
you'll notice that we have spent some time on fear. And that is because I heard that word and mentioned multiple times. And I said to Zach, this week's topic is fear.
Yep.
Because as men, we need to stand strong for our families. We need to stand strong for our wife, for our children. We need to let them know that there is nothing to fear, that God is in control, and that we don't need to be anxious about what's going to happen tomorrow, but we need to be ready for Jesus to come back, because he is going to come back.
Spread the gospel.
That's exactly right.
I just watched a Instagram post yesterday, and a guy was talking about how people were asking him, the end times, are the end times coming? All this is happening in Florida and North Carolina and all that stuff like that. All he said was spread the gospel.
That's right.
If you're worried about the end times coming, spread the
gospel. Because we want to take as many as we can with us.
Yeah, I mean, I believe God's got us. I believe,
does.
And Jesus is going to come like a thief in the night. Nobody's going to know when.
Yep.
So there's no reason to fear that. It's the end times. Stop worrying about it.
So
Jesus tells you, this is during the Sermon on the Mount. This verse comes from the Sermon on the Mount. And Jesus is telling us right here, don't be anxious. If you go back a little bit farther, he talks about not being anxious about what you're going to eat or drink. If you listen to my verse on Wednesday, right? I think I was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
If you listen to my verse on Wednesday, I go through chapter 6, verses 25 and 26, and I talk specifically about how I've been in situations myself, not even related to, all the nonsense that's going on in America and the world, but just in smaller situations where I didn't know where my money was going to come from to pay for my bills or pay for my rent or pay for my groceries.
Yeah, maybe you're in that situation.
Every single time I've prayed, and every single time I have gotten money somehow, whether it just, maybe I got money back from something, or
God give you a job. Somebody
gave me a job, or I was able to somehow sell something, and just get that money. And it's insane watching these blessings happen, honestly.
Yes, and
it's so crazy to just see them, because I'm, in my mind I worry, because I don't really like to talk to my wife about my worries very much, because I just don't want her to be worried too about it.
But don't worry.
Yes,
Trust
don't worry. I know, don't worry. But at those times,
it's hard not to.
We're humans.
Exactly.
We're humans. We're gonna worry.
But go to the Word.
Yes, go to the Word, and
when you have worry, go to the Word.
When you have worry, actually, specifically go to Matthew chapter 6, 25 through 34.
Yeah.
Read that. That talks completely about anxiety. Talks about what happened. Anxieties for tomorrow, anxieties for next year, anxieties for 10 years from now. So, and you need to cast all these anxieties
upon the Lord.
Yeah. And let all your burdens off your shoulders. Give them to the Lord. And the Lord will take care of you.
Yep.
The Lord has taken care of me every single time anything has ever happened. And I am doing just A-okay, because I pray about it and God takes care of me. And and the end, people worried about the end times, preach the gospel, read your Bible, and just don't worry.
Yep. One other thing I want to say on that, this morning's verse was telling us that...
Well, we're recording this on a Friday.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Yes, okay. That we should not fear. We are given a spirit of power, a spirit of love, and a spirit of self-control. And if we allow the Holy Spirit to empower us, then we can lead our family. We can lead them with love.
Yep.
We can have self-control over fleshly things that try to hold us down. But that power can help us to be the man we need to be for our wife and for our children, so that they don't feel a spirit of fear. You
need to be the rock for your wife.
That's right.
Because you are supposed to serve the Lord, and in turn, like that one verse says, that me and my house will serve the Lord. You need, as the head of the house, you need to be the one that your wife and your children can lean on.
Yep.
And you need to show them that you're serving the Lord, that you're trusting in the Lord, and with that, they will feel less anxious.
That's right.
They will feel less anxious because they know, they see you not being anxious. They will feel, like they worry less. So, I know with my wife, when she sees me not worrying, no matter, even if I'm dealing with something that is very worrisome for me, which, yes, I know I should cast my worries upon the Lord, but we're human. It's very hard to do that sometimes. When she sees me not worrying, it makes her feel better.
Yes.
And I think that's the same thing with a lot of our wives.
That's my wife's the same way.
And your kids are going to be the same way. I don't have kids,
exactly.
but I just know that, if I was worrying about something and my dad came to me and was like, it's going to be okay, you're going to be fine, then I felt better about things.
Yeah.
And, I heard this saying the other day that said, everything will be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, then it's not the end.
That's right. So, guys, be what God wants you to be. Get into the Word and call upon His name and let Him empower you to be the man that He wants you to be.
Yep.
So let's end it right there, Zach. And if you liked this content, because it was a little different than what we have been doing, if you liked it, please leave us a comment and let us know that you liked it, because we may be doing a little bit more of this from time to time, just to talk about events that are going on and things that are going on in the car community. So if you like it, please leave us a comment, and then we would really appreciate it if you would give us a thumbs up.
Yep. Like, subscribe, share. Leave us comments if you think we did good. Leave us comments if you think we did bad. Let us know.
Let us know.
What you didn't like.
Hey, we need some input from you all. And lastly, send us your rides so we can post them up on Saturday. We haven't gotten anything from you guys. Where you at?
We know y'all got some cool cars.
Yeah,
I know
send
some of the people that watch this, so I know y'all got cool cars.
Send us your rides. We need some stuff to post on Saturday. So we love you guys. We appreciate you, and we will catch you next time.